What? 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 What?
Science!
What? 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 What?
Hey, you. Yeah, you. You sitting there
at your computer watching this show. This is kind of what you are used to seeing here on the Social Media Lab Live. Me kind of with, it's not always my arms up in the air, but this sort of backdrop here. You've seen this backdrop on our show, gosh, a year and a half that we've been running this, and I'm hiding right now behind these pictures because I want to reveal it to you here in just a second. But we kind of got into a dilemma here. If you see that backdrop, it started to get a lot of creases. I always had them, but as a year and a half went by and a lot of lights on it, I've had to move the thing 2 or 3 times with COVID and have my studio in different spots. Kind of started getting worse and worse and worse. And it's a little bit frustrating, to say the least. And so what we've done, though, is we were tasked to create a new studio. And we're going to reveal that on today's show. And hopefully you're as excited about that as I am. On top of that, we're also going to talk about and answer the question, does your agency suck? With a very special guest who was dancing like crazy in the green room. So you want to stick around for today's show. It is the Social Media Lab Live.
Are you ready to use science to bust some myths in the social media ecosystem?
Great Scott!
Welcome to the Social Media Lab Live, brought to you by Agorapulse, where our social media scientists experiment on real accounts to crack the code on social media success for your business.
what,
Now your hosts, Scott Ayers.
Welcome to the Social Media Lab Live new studio. This is the first time I've ever actually shown it to anyone outside the company. I did try a little quick sneak peek the other day in our group, but yeah, so this is what I've been working on for the last, I don't know, month or two, finding odd little things to decorate my office. I've actually switched around my view from where I normally have at. I took off doors off a shelf, a cabinet. I've painted it and added a bunch of little fun stuff. And there's some little, I'll call them Easter eggs inside these cabinets and stuff. And what we wanted to do is kind of create an atmosphere. It's a little bit more lab-like. I even got, you can't see them totally, but I've got little beakers with food coloring in it. We got, well, maybe we shouldn't call it food coloring. It's like special chemicals that will burn you or something. I don't know. We're stirring up lots of stuff in the lab. So yeah, a lot of fun things, different lights, different little things we did for decoration. I got this fun little battery operated plasma ball, which it's hard to see on camera, but it does the fun little thing here. And you can see that I've actually got it up. I see the little the ring light above me is shining up. I actually won a ring light from VidChops. So shout out to VidChops. I won it on a contest they ran on Instagram here recently. So I've got it up really high just to add some extra lighting onto the backdrop so it's not in my face. So a lot of stuff we're going to do here in the lab. The chalkboard, I forgot to go buy chalk before the show, so nothing's written on it yet. We will have stuff written on there. And we got this guy over here. This is kind of my new sidekick. That'll be on the show. And I'm working through some different ways and things we're going to do with him. I think we're going to have to name him at some point, or her. I don't know. I'll call him a him because, me being a him, he's like the dead version of me. I don't know. So we're thinking some fun stuff to do. Like maybe every week he's another dead social media, platform and talks about it or something. Or I've even talked about letting people send me t-shirts and he wears a t-shirt during the show. So a lot of fun stuff that we'll talk about and kind of do. And I'll probably talk about and play around with those ideas in our Facebook group. So make sure you do comment lab and you can subscribe to our chat bot and it'll send you the invite over to our group if you haven't joined. But yeah, we want to have a lot of fun. And I've even got, and I'm trying to figure out this, I don't know. I don't like my chair's higher than I want it to be on my table right now. So it's a little awkward to kind of figure out. And 2020 is the weirdest year. I mean, I'll have to admit 2020 is a very strange year for me. I'm using a MacBook. I said in my life, I would never use an Apple product. And here I am using an Apple product. So if you catch me watching Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, it is the end times because those are other things I vowed to never watch. So yeah, let me know in the comments where you're watching the show at today, and hopefully this looks good. The interesting thing I'm noticing is, and I'm looking at maybe it's just my monitor on my MacBook that it looks great. The quality is really good, and I'm looking at it the stream on another monitor. It kind of looks dull. I don't know which one's actually showing to you guys. So it'd be kind of cool maybe to see. I'll have to go look at the recording later on. Yeah, let me know where you're watching that today. See, like a lot of people were commenting, they love the jam. Yeah, that music actually gets me really going. I think it's called Funky Droid. Is the tune we use. We use it in our podcast, and we use it in a lot of other different things. What Steven says, this music is indeed my type of music. Mike Phillips says he is sitting there. Crazy Scott. Yeah, thank you. And a couple of things too, just as a housekeeping. Because we are using Restream, we can't schedule the live show. And this is probably my last week testing Restream as part of a bigger blog post somewhere way down in the future. I can't schedule it, so we automatically I have to just push go live. And I'm actually live right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch, just because why not? I don't think I have any followers. I actually had one viewer last week on Twitch. That was kind of funny. But we get a lot of people. It puts us in the Facebook watch, and we get a lot of views really, really fast at the beginning. Like right now, we're 225 peak viewers right now. And we'll end up getting a lot of spam comments. This has happened every week to us here lately. Something with Facebook Watch, you get these odd comments, and I already see a few coming in. So if you see some come in, please ignore them, and we apologize. Deb Mitchell, who's our community manager, she loves to hop in there and ban them and get them out as fast as we can. So we appreciate her doing that. So yeah, Mike says it looks good. Yeah, you see the science, up there, the little thing there. I bought a lot of this stuff at a Five Below. If you don't have a Five Below in your area, you can find some really cool cheap decorations in at Five Below. Let's see. The video looks really clean. Appreciate that. How do you and Mike Alton survive working together and you've never seen Star Wars? Yeah, tell me about it. Him and Eric Fisher both are Star Wars nuts. Richard Beeson, who I used to do the podcast with, nuts about it. I watched them. I always tell them I watched those kid movies when I was a kid, and that's usually a pretty good insult to them. And they don't talk to me about it much because I watched them in the 80s when they came out, and I never really watched them again. So yeah, I just never got into them. I don't know. I'm not a big sci-fi guy. I love Restream Worcester schedule. We connect with that. Yeah, I think that they keep saying they're going to do it with their studio, but who knows if they will or if they won't. So. And like I said, I'm using a MacBook, so it's a little bit different than what I've done before. So I'm like, where's everything at? But today we are going to talk about and answer the question, does your agency suck? And I'm kind of curious. Let me know in the comments while we're talking. Do you run or work for an agency? I'd kind of like to know. I mean, are you an agency? Are we talking to agency people? I think that might help our guests to kind of know how to answer some things. So let us know in the comments. If you work for or you own or run some sort of agency, maybe even what that agency specializes in, if it specializes in anything. And I know one thing that, agency work is hard. I've thought about it many times because I get people bugging me all the time to do their social media, especially locally. But I always fear they won't pay me enough and it'll just be it'll be a lot of headache. And then they'll go, oh, you didn't do enough for me. And, all that. And I want to chase down money and that sort of thing. But I know a lot of agencies, it's hard to kind of keep up with stuff. In a good way, I would recommend you to keep up with all your content and all your reports is make sure you go grab a free trial of AgoraPulse. You can go to agorapulse.com/live and grab a free trial. I think it's a 28-day free trial. Kick the tires. Our support team and sales team is in there to kind of answer all your questions. So if you haven't done that yet, make sure you go to agorapulse.com /live. And if you haven't read any of our experiments or you're behind on them, I'm publishing a lot more lately. I actually published one this week that was kind of a summary of some past Instagram experiments. This one was called 5 Instagram Hacks Backed by Science. And so I want you to make sure you go check out that. So without further ado, I do see some people saying they work for agencies. Let me hop them on here real quick. I think Steven said yes, meaning he does work for an agency. Deb works for AgoraPulse, but still has an agency, which is pretty. I don't know how she does both. I would like to be that smart, but I'm not. How do you wipe? Oh, see, there's one of those comments that came across. So I started to read it, and then I probably shouldn't have. Anyway, so I'm gonna bring on my guest. She's been itching to hop on here, and then she's gonna be dancing. There she is. She's gonna be dancing as we hop on. It's good to have you on the show. And see, she told me before the show, make sure I don't pronounce her name wrong, and I probably will. But it's Yvonne Hyman.
Yes!
See, I got it right. Yes, I got it right. Yeah, if you don't, I call her Ask Evie. And so
Makes it easier.
It's like, okay, what's the whole name? It's Ask Evie. But she's a business efficiency coach. She helps digital entrepreneurs, automate their business, so they can dominate their industry. She's got over 10 years experience organizing and streamlining, businesses into profitability and success. And you're based in San Diego, right?
Yep, moved here in November. Best
right.
decision I ever made right before COVID-19.
Oh.
Thank God I'm not stuck in Sacramento right now.
Is that worse there? Is that?
I'm like, right here, we have the heat right now, but you still have a little breeze going. You're in San Diego. You just go out to the ocean if you get the heat wave, right?
Yeah.
But Sacramento had the 3-digit now for a while, and there's nothing to go or do. You literally just sit in the house and you'd sweat.
Oh, that doesn't say yet. I mean, I live in Texas, so we had days 115 last week. So
you have fun with that. I'm San Diego spoiled now. I start complaining at 90.
Yeah, like we have a cool front right now. It's like 95, 98 this week, so it's like a cold front for us. So tell us a little bit. You've been doing agency stuff for like 10 years. Like, do you have a particular type of client? How did you get into that? What's your background? Maybe like your elevator pitch, if you will.
Oh my God, how many hours do we have time? That is one of my downfalls, trying to concise all of that.
Yeah.
Through my late husband is pretty much how I ended up going into all of this. Initially, that was, 20 years, 2020. I don't even remember any years. 10 years ago, I started through the need of his clients with social media, realized really fast, I am not a social media manager coming up with the content, written content and everything. I'm already struggling with that stuff for myself. Not my thing, but realized I'm really great at the technology and repurposing and evergreen content and making sure I can get the most with the least. Moved more into the web design piece. I've seen a couple of my peeps are in the audience too. They know that short after that came 2 years of hiatus in my business where my late husband got diagnosed with cancer, which brought up this passion for what I call bulletproofing businesses, meaning whatever life throws at you, your business should be able to handle. You should be able to step away from your business and take care of things. Or take a vacation, If 2020 doesn't happen, at least you can take a vacation. And if 2020 happens, we'll deal with it, kind of thing. So that's the short version of my last 10 years where I still have the agency. I still have a couple clients that I work with. So to make sure, first of all, to still stay in the area, to know what's going on, to stay up to date, to play around with all the new tools. I do the same thing you do. Where before I recommend a tool, before I recommend an automation or anything, we test it. And I can't test everything just on my own. So I got a couple of my old standing clients that I still work with that love just playing around with me and testing everything.
Very good. And you moved to the U.S. in 2007 from, I'm assuming, Germany.
Yep.
Based on the accent.
So I got the whole, I got the whole system and processes literally just in my blood. It took me a couple years to realize not everybody sees things like I do.
Right.
Like I have that thing where other people see chaos and I see actually systems behind it.
That's a good way to put it. Now, I got to ask 2 things. One, where did Ask Evie come from? And it seems you got a small addiction to Wonder Woman.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So what's the correlation through all that?
So Ask Evie came about through a classmate of mine that is now living in Australia and came to visit 9 years ago, something like that. And we show her around, drive her around, and they had so many questions of why is this happening and how does this work and how does that work? And I'm one... I want to know. And either way, I do know, or I went and searched it. It's like, let me Google that for you. And by the end of their visit, it was like, you know what? You should start a website, askyvonne.com. The thing was, askyvonne.com wasn't available. It was a realtor at that time. I think it's now available, but you know what? My branding is done. So I used my nickname. I used askevie.com. And initially, it was the web design company. And with everything pivoting and changing, it is the consulting business now. And the Wonder Woman piece came into this at my latest rebrand. So talk about rebranding, which will feed into our conversation in general too. I used to have this brand with like peach and teal and the mandala and blah, and I thought it was the best. And a friend of mine finally kicked me in the booty and is like, that's not your personality. That's not you. Which then brought in the colors of, just like you guys have, the orange and the red in my brand. And that was the first step. And then the second step, that when I was looking for imagery and everything, Wonder Woman images popped up. And I actually ended up finding 2 stock images that are not from the movie that I can use. And then Easel and Annette McDonald took it to the level where it is now and took the colors and took the logo, put the wings on it. And now we have a full-on Wonder Woman brand. I'm like, I love the movie. I love what she stands for. It just evolved naturally into this.
Trying to find the button to get me back on there. There we go. Yeah, really, very cool. Yeah, that's I always noticed that. I thought, okay, even your logo kind of has that Wonder Woman feel.
You got the
wings on it. So so I want to kind of set all that up. So if anybody's watching, we're talking to Yvonne Hyman, better known as Ask Evie. We're going to talk all about agencies because she's done a lot of work with agencies. She has her own agency. So kind of want to just, like all these interviews we've been doing, we'll talk about some data, but some of it's just practice. And so, we're going to kind of try to answer that question. Does your, if I can get that to pop up, does your agency suck? And so, the first question that we want to tackle is, should an agency focus on one industry? And Evie, what is your opinion on that? And why might you think one way or the other?
So a lot of my designers out there are not going to like my answer because I believe you should not focus on one industry. Yes, you need to niche down. Don't get me wrong, because from the branding aspect and really talking to people and optimizing what you put out there, you need to have a niche. The moment I decided digital entrepreneurs, which is a fairly broad niche, messaging became easy, workflows became easy. It gives you a pathway to optimize your whole marketing, your whole advertising, your whole conversation. But the problem is when you niche down too much, for example, events. 2020, have you talked to social media manager and agencies that focus literally just on event companies or events in itself? They quite had a problem about a month in after COVID hit.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is, yes, you need to niche down. You need to get your messaging down. You can't just do digital entrepreneurs and then grandma brick and mortar store that don't even have a Facebook account. You want them to match and fit nicely with each other. So for example, when you want to work in the event industry and with event managers, that kind of area, that perfectly also matches with restaurants, with music people, anything that feed in with that event industry, yet you don't completely niche down to just one exact industry. So that means you have a backup. You didn't put your eggs all in one basket. You didn't count on MySpace being around and bringing in clients. That's the same thing. Find sister industries, find where things work together well, and just build a story around it. It's like, I'm one of those people, I can find you a story and an excuse for pretty much anything. As long as you can explain it and can build a story around it, your followers are going to get it and understand it and stick around, and you can still build your brand around it. You still can tell your story around it while not putting all of your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, I think that I think it's great points about the event stuff, because we know the people, friends that are in. That's what they did, and it's rough because there's not events right now, and so I do think having some I know everybody wants to niche. Where they always say the riches are in the niches, But I mean, I
And
think
it's true. Just don't go too
Yeah.
tiny.
Yeah, I think maybe have a mix of niches, perhaps that you do that complement one another.
Mhm.
Excuse me. I think that could be a good. Maybe you're a realtor and you also you work on realtors, but you also do roofing companies or plumbers
Realtor,
or
flippers,
yeah.
real estate, Airbnb. There is so
Right.
much that works with that real estate, for
Right.
example. With me, it was social media, web design, graphics designer. They all match with each other. The story is the same. So your brand people, your story people are still going to be happy with you because you are not throwing a plumber in with a marketing agency. They can build the story around you, but you do have differentiation in it.
Yeah, I think that's important. So, I mean, would you say we don't have one industry, but should an agency focus on certain aspects only? Like, there's some agencies that, like you said, just do web design. There's some agencies who just do Facebook or just do PR. I mean, should you do everything? Like, should your agency do everything social media for someone, or should you diversify that?
How we approached it is I teamed up with people. So under the umbrella of Pacific Crest Media, we do offer the web design. We do offer the social media. We do offer the graphics design. We do offer the branding, but I don't do it all.
Right.
I combined my efforts with other entrepreneurs that are running their own business that are way better at the whole branding piece or creating content or doing all that. So I can offer it to my clients because client comes to you, they want an easy solution.
Yeah.
They don't just want to talk to 10 people and have a part-time there for the social media and have a part-time there for web design and maintenance and have the branding over there and nobody talks to each other and nobody knows what the other one does. And you just have a huge mess. So putting your efforts together with other people that are as passionate about their niche, what they do well. And I literally just pulled in the people that I've been working with for years. I got my IT guy that knows way more about servers and speeding up websites than I do. I got my branding girl that tickled out of me what my brand is. Just pull it in. Mm-hmm. Make it easy for your client. They prefer a one-stop shop, and why not upsell them?
Right. I think that's important. Like, I know guys who just do restaurants. I mean, they do a lot of restaurants in bigger cities, but they don't do paid at all. And I'm like, dude, you're missing out. Not helping them out with their paid stuff. At least, subcontract it out and take a spiff off of that or something like that.
Yep.
So I think you got to partner up with, I'm in Waco, Texas, which is, it's not a big town by any means, 250,000 people. But, I know agencies here that, they were a one-stop shop. And trying to do it on their own, and now they combine like 2 or 3 agencies mm-hmm. together, and they each do different things. But they all tell their clients only talk to one person though, and I think that's probably a pretty.
You want to have that conversation easy, which feeds into our whole How is it Friday yet? Our whole conversation today, where everything about your agency needs to be easy.
Right.
It needs to be easy communication. So in this piece, you don't want to throw 10 people at them. You want to have one person that talks to the client and then relays that information.
Yeah, and that goes right into our next question here with Evie is, what processes and workflows should agencies have? So you kind of just hit on that a little bit, but maybe dive in a little bit more of, how do you bring on a client? When you bring on a client and kind of onboard them, what's the process and what kind of workflows do you have to get the work done?
One of our biggest issues, at least as I have seen with myself as well as clients, already starts with the lead management. We get an email in, it's a crazy day, it's second, third Monday of the week, right? That email suddenly gets lost. Nobody knows what to do. So everything starts out with really having a lead management system / CRM. We'll dive into that in a little bit. But having that workflow ready of, okay, client messages you, especially nowadays when they come through Facebook, they come through a Twitter message, they come through a potential company association. So for example, ClickUp has me as a vetted consultant. I get emails through them. So they are coming in differently. I'm getting emails through my website. I'm getting inquiries here and YouTube and everywhere. even if you do not use a CRM or any kind of tool, you need to have that workflow down of, okay, how are we simplifying this? Where are we sending them? How are we getting them the easiest into the system from all of these outlets into one? So what I tell my clients when I coach with them, it's like, get them into your email, follow up with an email that says, hey, this, and this is what I offer. Here is how you can do the first step. And really funnel, no matter where they come from, into one line of communication, because that's just going to make your life easier. Same thing, Agorapulse, Inbox Zero. You get all of your stuff in there. The moment they pop in there, you message them back and say, hey, email us at support at EV at whatever it is. And that one email then can be automated. There can be a whole follow-up. What do you need to do? Reminders. They are already in your inbox. They already reached out. That is a warm lead. You do not have to pay any money for it. You already convinced them that they do want to work with you. Don't lose that lead. And how many have all of us lost one of those leads just by, holy moly, they messaged us like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that moment that's gone. That's now a cold lead. So having that workflow ready to go with reminders and all of that stuff ready to go that says, hey, by the way, that dude emailed you 2 days ago. You got to follow up because he didn't reply to your email. Same thing with client onboarding, which you just mentioned, where it's like, okay, what happens? Especially with social media, you need this login and that information and that branding and those images. And where do I get stock images? What are we doing? So much information that goes just for bringing on a new client. Now, you can start out as simple as having a damn checklist next to you, because the moment you start that process and you have it not written down, I don't care how many thousand times you have done this, there will be one point where, did I do that? Didn't I do that? Right. Where is that stuff? How does that work? We've all been there. So even if you just start with a notebook, pen and paper, and do the whole thing, I'm like, you even can go all branded, right?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. The Agorapulse book, yeah.
Have it written down so you don't waste the time of, did I do it? Didn't I do it? And the next step then is taking that pen and paper information and really get it in a digital system. If you are already in a big agency, go digital right away, because your team is going to need it. What happens if the onboarding account manager isn't there? If you are not around, who can take over? Who knows what's going on? This is crucial no matter which size of your agency you are in. If it's a one-man shop or if you have 150 people in there. Same thing with, what's your marketing plan? If you are not out there, people don't know about you. If you are not living what you preach, nobody is going to come in. It takes time for people to recognize you. It took me a year to reframe my following from, oh, she does web design, to, oh, she actually can teach me how to make things easier. You need to stay out there. And last but not least, what are you doing with your existing clients? How are you making their life easy? How can they, when they do their bookkeeping in year-end close for the taxes, find all of their invoices? You think they saved them all? Not going to happen. I don't. How can you automatically bill them? If you, oh my God, this is a godsend. 95% of my clients, of my retainer clients, are on automatic invoicing. And even better, they clicked the button and said, I don't care. Every time this invoice comes every single month, and it's just that invoice. So they have to do that for every single invoice. I cannot just invoice them and get the money. But they clicked the box that said, just take my money. I know this invoice is coming every month. Just take it. Here you go. I don't want to deal with it. That means you automatically have your retainer coming in every single month. Who doesn't want that?
Button, yeah.
So those are the main ones where I'm really like, okay, we need to get this in.
Now we'll get to tools. Some people ask about tools. We're going to talk about tools here in a tad. So I'm not ignoring your question there, Sarah. But Brad does ask something here. You know, do you calendar block time on certain days to work with leads, or how do you manage the time that it takes to do that? So do you do something? Do you have specific days, or just as they come in, you get on them as fast as you can?
I'm smirking over here because I literally had to decide last night to put myself on a 1-day intensive with my business because I need to clean up my blocking. Yes, I do time blocking. So Thursdays, for example, is video. I have my live show in the morning. I need to record YouTube videos. We girls, I need a freaking hour and a half to be YouTube ready. So I can't just put on a wig. The orange on my head just doesn't work as well as it works for you, Scott. So I want to optimize everything. And it's not just the optimization of me needing to get dressed up because I'm on video and because I want to take care of myself too and look good on video. It's also the brain. Your brain likes to stay in a lane, meaning if I know I have a bunch of discovery calls, I need to do my sales pitch without doing the sales pitch. I'm in that. I'm in the going. It's all cool. I can do this for a day with multiple calls. Awesome. Going into consulting calls, this is a different thinking of I need to prep for that. I need to make sure I know exactly where my client is and go back into it. There is a follow-up that's happening to all of that. So yes, I completely batch everything as of next week when I updated my batching schedule again.
Yeah.
And I actually, because Brad is also the calendar piece, I use Book Like a Boss, for example, where I say discovery calls are only available on those, and those dates and a maximum of that many calls. Now, my clients that are intensives, they have 2 days a week where they can schedule those intensive because nothing else is going to go on that schedule. With those intensive, I'm like, my brain is fried after one of those. Same with just discovery calls or when I talk with companies, when I do collaborations, and I already set my schedule up in a way where people can schedule time with me where I'm like, sorry, dude, Wednesday, my brain is not working in that realm on Wednesday. We need to do that on the Thursday and really combine those things. But another thing that I also want to throw in there is I try to set up my tasks matching brain power. And what I mean by that is when I have a discovery call, I know I'm going to be excited afterwards because I know that person I was on a call with is going to leave with at least one aha moment. That means my brain power, my energy level just went up. Now there's other tasks where it's like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I have to do, no. I schedule those right after because I'm up here. My energy level is going to go down with that task. So I'm either way on neutral or I'm in kind of mood.
Yeah.
So I try to max out my own personal power by matching my tasks with those energy levels and trying to offset them with each other.
That's great advice. I think all of us have a really hard time doing that, probably though, for sure. Cause I'm like you. I'm chasing different squirrels all day long. Now, when it comes to your leads coming in, like if you're batching them and you're waiting for a certain day, two things. One, I mean, I worry. Do you worry like, okay, it's going to be 6 days before I reply because that's my scheduled day. I'd worry about that maybe. But two, do you send some sort of automated message when they come in, let them know, hey, we'll look this over. We'll get back to you on XYZ day.
So correct. Little thought issue right there. They're getting information right away. So a lead comes into my email inbox. That's where I'll funnel them. They go into my email inbox and they get a email template that pretty much says the same. It's a little bit customized with a first name. If I already have a little bit additional information, I plug that in there too. And they get told, hey, just schedule a discovery call. That's where everything starts. That's pretty much the single call to action that's in that email. Some additional information and schedule a discovery call. So I do these email on every single day, specific times throughout the day, but you get a response from me within 24 hours. The call itself is where the batching happens. So the batching on the email and response happens daily by times of the day, where morning, midday, afternoon before I close everything up, or when I just have a break in between and I'm just playing on my phone again. Then the actual day batching happens by that discovery call schedule, because I'm not doing discovery calls on a Monday. Mondays are crazy. I don't want to have any potential new client in there when the crap is on fire again. So that's where that happens. You always will hear from me right away. And then pretty much the bigger the project goes, the longer the wait is going to be. Again, communication always happens. Discovery calls happen a couple days a week. My retainer coaching clients, they are going throughout. They're easy to plug in the calendar. Intensives, which are either away 4 hours or a total of 8 hours, so full day session with the client, they are scheduled farther out simply because, first off, we need to find a full day where that time is in my schedule, and there is a lot of prep that goes into it. But yeah, you're never not going to hear from me within 24 hours to begin everything. I think that's
good advice, because some people might go, oh no, I get scared. So if you're just hopping in, we're talking to Ask Evie, trying to answer the question, does your agency suck? Hopefully by the end of this, you'll know whether yours, it's a self-analysis. We're not going to tell you if yours does or not. But we're
and there are different levels to that too.
Right.
Mine sucks right now. I'm like, I have to overhaul my whole workflows.
Right. So we've talked about, should you focus on one industry or not? We talked about processes and workflows. The next thing, this is an interesting one. I think a lot of agencies probably struggle with this one is, how does teaching and being active on social help an agency?
First off, 2020, we know everything is crazy right now, and we know everybody is on their phones. The moment you are not visual, you are out of mind. People are so fast with jumping right now. It's like, look at me. I realized yesterday I ran out of something. What did I do? I took my phone, I went to Amazon, and I didn't even walk the 5 minutes down the street to go to the store. Everything happens so fast right now, which means we are inundated with so much information. You know it. If you're working with clients and trying to get your clients in front of their target market, you know they got to stay out there. The same applies for you. And the nice thing is, when you actually are being out there, people keep seeing you, people keep engaging with you. You're doing the work. You know that it takes time for people to get to know you, to trust you, to just be like, I've seen you. You actually know what you're talking about. You actually are walking the talk. So many people are now coaching coaches how to coach. You need to walk the talk and show people this stuff actually works. And suddenly you jump on a discovery call and they're like, oh yeah, I followed you for a year. No need to sell me. What's your package? Take my money. How can you beat that?
That's true. That's true. Now, how does that practically look? Let's say we're in, someone lives in Dallas, Texas. How does that, and they're not someone who's speaking at events, like big events, like, you have, like, how does that practicality look? Maybe someone who's in a different area, it's a little smaller.
I love the approach of evergreen content. First off, teaching. Teaching is a big thing. And don't believe the whole take money for your teachings because nobody is going to hire you because you're already giving them all for free. People don't want to deal with it. Teach them, show them how things are done, because they're going to realize how much work that is, how much time they need to spend, and what a pain in the booty it is. It's the perfect way to show them your value and how much you do for them. So teach them. Go on YouTube. Have short little micro content snippets of, this is why you need to do this. Just short little 30, 60-second videos and reuse that stuff. As I mentioned, did I mention before? I hate writing. Yes, I mentioned that before. I hate writing.
Don't tell Mike Alton.
Oh, he knows. He knows. I'm like, dude, really? Can you clean that up for me, please? It's like I had to write something again. Right. So what did we decide for me? We start with a YouTube video because it's like, you get me started talking, I don't shut up. So put me on video, not a problem. We then take that, make that in a blog post, make that into small pieces of content, no matter if that's a video, if that's social media, and run it as evergreen. If you are using Agorapulse, go set up your queues for your own promo stuff, for upcoming events promo stuff, and throw that in there and repeat that stuff. Now, suddenly, you created one big piece of content, you made little pieces of content, and you constantly share them out there as evergreen. Now, it might take 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. It took a while for me, but right now, we had a little hiccup behind the scenes this month, which means barely any fresh content went out in August on my Facebook page. Yet go look, there is stuff going through there like you would not be able to tell that we had an issue behind the scenes. Because I built up those evergreen content queues where I'm still teaching you how to use tools. I'm still teaching you how we integrated Agorapulse, how we are using ClickUp to do all the things. It's out there. You as a viewer would never able to tell that there was not really any fresh, unique content going out this month. There was just about that much.
Yeah. So on top of content, so maybe offer some free courses, maybe write some blogs, do videos. Would you, I mean, maybe speaking at like chamber events or local events or teaching maybe, or doing a class? Hey, I'll offer a free 30-minute class on this. I mean, is that stuff valuable still today? For people?
It is. You just need to test it. It's just like, it doesn't matter if it's online or if it's offline. There is going to be events where you're like, why the heck did I do that? Nothing came out of it.
Right.
And there's going to be good events. So if you are at a level where it's like, you know what, I have way too much time on my hand, I don't have enough clients, you're going to be a little bit less choosy on which events you are joining. Once your schedule is full, you're going to be more choosy, but always look at, okay, is this my target market? Is there actually a chance to get in front of people that I want to work with? Chambers are great, but a chamber isn't a chamber. Locally in Sacramento, I did a lot with chambers, but there was one chamber, I really loved them, but it was an old chamber with a lot of old members that I had to fight off. Guys, and I have a Facebook account. Update your people. Just even send an email. I had more time to fight with them, pretty much to educate them why they should go online, because they were in an age bracket and in a situation where it's like, yeah, no, we don't care. Yeah. And then just a town down the road, there was a little bit of bigger chamber, a younger chamber, where the chamber in itself already did the work of educating their members better than that old chamber did. Just do your research. And yes, Scott, we know it. We love our online, we love our videos, yet nothing beats an in-person conference. Chambers and in-person events are the same way. They get to know you, they get to speak with you nowadays through a mask and 6 foot apart, but still, you still can meet people, you still can talk with people. There is an energy exchange that you do not have online. So yes, they are totally valid. Just do your job and do your research and put your time where the chances are good that you're going to get a return of your investment.
I think it's a good advice there, but I do think what you mentioned earlier, though, because if you are going to be a social media marketing agency, it's kind of, you used to always say that the cobbler's kids don't have shoes. I think as an agency who does social media, you better have a good social media presence these days, because people are looking at it and they go, oh, well, that agency's got like 10 people who like their page and they never post. That doesn't look good. So you got to make sure you're, like you said, you're walking the talk. And I think
the numbers need to match. I'm like, for example, before I hired my YouTube guy, I was doing research beginning of the year with multiple people. And I looked at one guy where it's like, you have that many followers, but no views. Chances are you bought some of those followers, because if you have that kind of following, but you only have 200 views on your views, there's something off. Sorry. The one I'm working with now might have not had a website, might have not had the online presence on Facebook or social media, but I looked at his YouTube channel and I'm like, dude, you know what you're talking about.
Right.
You make your own life easier. Same thing with any coaches or professional help when I'm hiring. I'm sorry, if you are not putting work into your website, you don't need to know web design. But if you are a professional and I look at your website and it's a Squarespace, broken, kind of, no, sorry, I'm going to move on. I don't care how well you might know your area. You are not paying attention to your own public appearance and spend the money to hire somebody to do it right.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. You've got, I think it's like, it's like going to a mechanic who's got a broke down car. You don't want to do.
And we all go through seasons. I'm like, I am
sure.
as guilty as anybody else. As I said, it's like my own workflows right now are a mess because I changed packages. I changed approach. I literally just need to do it and take a day for it. We all go through seasons. It comes down to the overall picture that you are presenting.
Sure. So I'm gonna switch our last question because we've kind of led into this a little bit. So we've talked about now, we're talking about does your agency suck here with Ask Evie? And we talk about should you be in one industry or not? Should you be teaching? Should you be active? What are your processes? I want to kind of flip over to if I can find it in my list over here. See, that's the bad thing. I was talking to Evie before we got on this. Restream doesn't let you reorder your little captions, and then sometimes they just get out of order when you refresh, which is very annoying. You kind of started talking about this, so I kind of want to go into this now. Like, how does an agency scale? You've mentioned some things there about getting the good website, all these things, but kind of what's some practical ways an agency can scale their business?
The funny thing is, for me, scaling is actually an afterthought. It's a result. And it's a result of you optimizing pretty much anything. If it's the communication with your clients, if it's team communications, if it's your workflows and processes, is it your tools and technology? And I actually have it right here because I'm working myself through that right now. One thing that can help you get clear on this is this little puppy right here, Scale Up. An amazing resource, especially when it comes to the communication piece too. That is one of the biggest time sucks there is. No matter if it's with team or clients, not being able to clearly talk with them, to have one way of communication where you have to find information and just collect everything from everywhere. So optimizing your communication will cut down on time. Optimizing your workflows, as I talked about before, the moment you start writing workflows and processes down, you will start seeing where bottlenecks are, where things don't make sense, where Scott goes live. He knows he's going to need the intro. He's going to need the call to actions. He knows what he's going to need to do in his head, but that means everything is all over the place because it's our head. Let's be honest. The moment you write it down, you see, wait a second, if I do this, after that, this is going to flow easier. Same thing with client management and talking. Having a client portal where you can just be like, at the end of the year, mentioned it earlier, client is like, do you have that invoice? Do you know where that information is? And you're like, here's your link to your portal. Just go, have fun. Optimize, optimize, optimize. And for that, you need to follow Scott's teaching. You need to test it. You need to run with it. You need to adjust it. It's a constant circle of, okay, I have an idea. Let's look at this workflow. Let's look at this process. Writing it down, running with it, seeing this works, this doesn't work. You suddenly get the data. And with that data, you can go for it. Big thing I work with my clients on is time estimate, and I'm all over the place right now with that. There's so many things we can do. One of the big things is, again, time management, and not just time blocking and not just time laying out. How often have you been in a situation where it's like, oh yeah, that image just takes me 5 minutes, no problem. Those posts are written in an hour, not a problem. And suddenly it's 6 p.m. and you're like, where the hell did the day go?
Every day.
If you followed me, if you know me, you know I'm a fan on ClickUp. ClickUp is a project management system that also allows me to say, this is the estimated time for this task or for this subtask, which means my workflow, YouTube video to blog post to social media content to evergreen content to an email newsletter, that's all written out. And all of those steps have an estimated time next to it that tells me, I believe this takes half an hour. Cool. Now me or my VA actually track our time. Now I can see, okay, why is this specific piece of content 2 hours over the estimated time? What happened here? Why is that happening? And without those numbers, without those tracking, without testing it, you're not going to be able to optimize. You're not going to be able to scale. By optimizing everything, you are able to take on more clients. You are able to have your team run it because it's digital. Right. It's in a project management. You are using tools. Write your SOPs, standard operating procedures. The end goal with all of this is you being able to step away. If you are able to step away from your business, you are ready to scale. It's that simple, but it's not simple to get there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, that is a great thought, though. If you can step away, then you can scale. That's an interesting way to put it. Yeah.
For an example, I'm still at the point. My goal is I want to be able to take a 4-week vacation without any hiccups. That is my goal. I got a call a month ago or something like that. On Monday, I was on a wait list for selective surgery, nothing major. I'm all good. But they called me on Monday for the surgery on Wednesday. Monday was a little crazy because we needed to do all the testing and I needed to tell a client, hey, I can't do our call on Wednesday. We need to move this out. But I was pretty much gone from my business for a week and a half and nothing burnt down.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Work in stages. Yes, the end goal is 4 weeks. The end goal is the stuff running without you. But if you just focus on that, you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to be like, I'm never going to get there. This is never going to happen. How the hell am I going to? No. Work in stages. Focus on one workflow. Focus on one process. Focus on one issue where, okay, VA, why have we been talking for an hour and nothing got done and we have not made any decisions? We need to streamline this conversation piece. Cool. I just lost a client again because I didn't see the email. How can we fix that? Work on one piece at a time and it will add up. And especially after the first 6 months of piece by piece optimizing those pieces, a snowball effect will come into and you suddenly get so much drive and so much momentum with those things that it's worth it. Because initially doing this, it's a pain in the butt. You are not seeing anything. This is not a short-term fix. This is a long-term planning process.
Right.
This is not having a glass of bubbly and being buzzed in 5 minutes. This is actually working out and starting to drop some pounds in a month or two.
Yeah, there's no quick fixes for sure. But I do like your idea of, figuring out where your problems are at, getting those problems fixed, and it kind of starts snowballing and making life gets easier as you start to figure out and tweak everything. And kind of with that figuring out and tweaking, what tools should an agency use? Or maybe if you want to kind of keep it simple, like what are like the top 5 tools maybe that an agency should be using if they're not now?
And the peeps in the audience that know me are going to be like, yeah, I heard that before. One big thing is CRM, because again, if a lead is already there, you don't want to lose that momentum and that conversation. It can be as simple as using ClickUp, which is another tool, and set it up as a CRM. I have a video about that on my YouTube channel where it's like you don't go full on CRM like Company Hub or Nimble, where you have, quote, CRM tools with it. You can start simple with a ClickUp board style, that Kanban view where you have, okay, here's the lead. They go into a discovery call. They are now a client. They are a maintenance client. And you move those through and add tasks to them or task templates that remind you to do certain things Or you go the next step to a full-on CRM, again, like Nimble or Company Hub. Those are my two favorites. We did talk ClickUp. That is a big one, really getting your processes and your workflows down. Why I love ClickUp is because we can first off automate things in there. We can build templates. Client onboarding is the same stuff every time. We need to get this information. We need to get that. Right. We need to get this. We need to get here. You can build out that workflow, and then every time a new client comes in, or even a new lead, if you use it as a CRM, you say, cool, here's a new task, pull in that template, done. You don't have to write it down new. You don't have to spend hours of building this stuff. You just pull it in. Last but not least is CMS. There's a lot of people that mix up the CRM with the CMS. CRM is a client retention management. It's the remind me, I have a lead, I need to talk to you, what's going on, or a month later you want to follow up, or with a past client you want to follow up in 6 months. A CMS is a client management system. Mm-hmm. That's the tool that's going to take care of the automated billing or pulling the money if the client gave me the okay. That gives you a client portal. Often enough, there's even automations in there where, okay, the client signed up and I can send a bunch of emails of, I need this information and fill out this form and do this and here and there. The one that I use for that is called Dubsado. That is my tool of choice where, again, whole bunch of tools here. Some of those tools cross over. Some of those tools have feature where I'm like, stay away from that. Don't use that. Use that one over there. And last but not least, we all should have a scheduler. This shouldn't even be a conversation. It's like nobody should be in the email and forward back emailing 5 times to set up a 15-minute call.
Right.
So yeah, those are.
You said Book Like a Boss. Is that the one you use?
That's the one I use. I like their approach of being able to have the full calendar page. I can do coupons. So for example, perception is everything with clients, right? So I have standalone calls where it's like $297 or $997. Now, if you book a retainer with me, you get those calls, but at a cheaper rate. So what you can do to make sure your client doesn't forget about the value and the savings they're getting, you can give them a coupon and you can say, go schedule your calls that you are getting with this retainer package, and the coupon is going to zero it out. Or you can run advertising through it. It's like, I was surprised. I was just working with our lovely Amanda Robinson, our Facebook ads gal. On her scheduler, and I'm like, we can't do a coupon in there? What? It's like you have a nice returning client and you want to give them 10% off of that call, and you can't because it doesn't have the feature. So that's where I like Book Like a Boss. Another one that I have used in the past that's really good too is Acuity Scheduling. Okay.
Yeah, there's so many out there. Like I'm a Calendly type person. There's some
Calendly doesn't have coupon codes.
No, it doesn't. And there's some limitations on it too. I've seen some cool ones though. I have to check out the Book Like a Boss. I just like the name of it. It kind of sounds cool. And obviously we would say, I don't know what other tools you'd recommend, but we would recommend you for your clients to use, I don't know, this software called Agora Pulse.
Wait, didn't I see? This is why I get so excited. You know that I love Agora Pulse, especially because of the evergreen scheduling and as a social. How did I suck. I officially suck. It's 2020. I'm using 2020 as an excuse.
We've already talked about it. It's an assumption. Like you don't even have to say it, right? It's like,
I'm like, especially with your guys' power reports, which by the way, you guys can see, I just reviewed last week on my channel. As a social media manager, I'm like, I've been preaching about social media manager and agencies using Agora Pulse because you have that workflow built in from approval, no matter if it's between the VA and you or the client. You have the approval process built in. You have the bulk scheduling built in. You have the reporting built in. You have that whole content creation and reporting workflow built in. So I'm like, how did I have it on my list. but in the wrong order, so I
Yeah,
kind of skipped
That's
it.
all right. We've gone over an hour now, so your brain.
We
has
we
started to-
blame 2020.
Well, we can blame everything on COVID at this point. I think. Yeah, stub my toe, blame it on COVID.
Mhm.
All right, so I think hopefully we've covered enough stuff here, so you can kind of self-analyze yourself and know if your agency sucks or not. Before we let Evie go, we're hopping over to what's become like my favorite part of the show at times. Is this something I call 5 questions, and Evie doesn't know what these questions are. I don't know what these questions are. I'm using a little cards called pod decks. This guy's pretty funny. He's actually going to be on our show, I think in October. Interviewed him talking about podcasts, and I'll be on his. But so these are just 5 random questions. I'm going to pull them out. I'm not looking. You can see here I am shuffling up. I don't know what order it is now. If one comes out that I'm like, I'll toss it, and you are allowed to pass. But so we'll see what we get. So all right. So question number 1 with Ask Evie. On 5 questions. If you were to die tomorrow, what little thing would you regret not doing?
I have to say nothing.
That's the way we
Due to losing Pete, my thing has always been life is too short to do the things you want to do tomorrow. So I try to always do the things I want to do.
Perfect. My email signature personally is love God, embrace beauty, live life to the fullest. And I think I 100% line up with that. So, all right. Question number 2 with Ask Evie in 5 questions. If you had to delete all but 3 apps from your phone, which ones would you keep? Your favorite 3 apps, basically.
Does that include the regular texting app too?
We'll allow that one to stay. It's system. It's non-system based. How's that?
Okay, non-system based. I definitely would keep Facebook because that's where just the conversation is happening. I probably would keep my game on. I have one of those, shuffle around games. That's my brain dead kind of game. What else do I have on there? It's like usually it's can you survive without your phone? Don't need the banking app.
You might, but yeah, you could go to the bank.
No, actually, I would need the banking app because I don't have a local bank. Now, the other one would be Disney Plus. I need some kind of movie stuff going on. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So question number 3 with Ask Evie on 5 questions. What was your first screen name on social media?
Nenya.
Nenya?
Nenya, Nenya. That was my character name out of my live role play times.
Huh. All right.
Oh my God, that's been a while.
Yeah. All right. Question number 4. What is your most treasured possession?
What is my most treasured possession? That one right there.
Okay. Your ring. All right. So 5th question, final question with Ask Evie in 5 questions. Which words or phrases do you most overuse?
I would say the F-bomb. Luckily, it's getting edited out for the YouTube video.
That was going to be my guess. I'm like, she's going to say the F word. I was going to say, we're not, it doesn't have to be family friendly. So yeah. I know talking to you in person, I would say that's probably
I get passionate. And that's when those things come out. And if you want to get a good laugh about that, Deb, if you can grab it, there is a blooper reel on my YouTube channel. It's hilarious. Oh yeah, talk about F-bombs.
It's all good. All right. Well, I appreciate you being on the show with us today and kind of helping us out, learn a little about being agencies. If people need to go find you, what's the best website or place you would want everybody to kind of go talk to you at or go look more?
I'm attached to that thing, so it doesn't really matter where you go. Just ask Evie and you'll find me. You'll find the website. You'll find Facebook. You'll find Instagram. You might even find TikTok. Not really active. I'm more the one that suddenly 3 hours later realizes I'm still scrolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll find me everywhere. There is a Facebook bot active on the page, but I'm still listening into. So I'm everywhere. You can get me everywhere.
Well, everybody like bomb and love bomb Evie for being on. Appreciate you sharing your knowledge with us on today's show.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. And we appreciate all you watching the show. Next week, there will not be a show because next week we are doing this big thing, this summit from Agora Pulse, all about LinkedIn. It's called, so if you run over to summit.agorapulse.com, you can sign up for the summit. The summit's going to be live. I actually have a session that'll be played at right about the same time I think the show normally is. So I've decided no show next week, that way we don't kind of get in the middle of our page and cause confusion. But I'll be there kind of talking throughout the stuff and being wherever we have opportunity to chat. So make sure you go sign up for summit.agorapulse.com and be a part of that. So this is the new set. The set may look different next week. Who knows when we get back on in 2 weeks, but watching the group, make sure you comment lab so you can subscribe to the group, to our chat bot, and also kind of come and hang out with us in the group. I am going to try to do something with this skeleton, maybe some fun in the group of naming him or getting t-shirts for him or some other goofy things. So appreciate all you watching, and we'll see you next time.